go and try to out pistol you even if you do have the assault rifle. So Prototype definitely someone that cares about his shot and that will possibly play in his favor, but they are going up against Splyce, and Splyce is extremely well-rounded. So let's kick this one off with Randa and see what he has in store for us. Looks like he's going to be capturing red base over here, and it doesn't look like the side of Splyce is going to be going for their own base. Obviously, the big thing here is to try to get the pit, and a couple of picks going on over, but the Spartan charge does not hit. Will he be able to pick up that kill on Boo Boo Doo Boo? Boo Boo Doo Boo running away as fast as possible. You can see that radar, though. Loving how the radar shows when you're sprinting, but yet when you're walking, you do not appear.
Yeah, he was super quick there also to grab red, like you said, and that seems to be a different strategy amongst these teams. Some teams prefer to grab their own base right away, just to make sure that if they do get pit, they're racking up some time. Other teams realize, like, hey, guess what? It doesn't matter if we get our own base or not. If you don't get pit, it's all for nothing.
Yeah, and they're going for the side strategy here, holding both side bases, but yet Splyce is going to be able to capture the pit. So let's see if they're going to be able to capitalize now on the Splyce side, being able to get the pit, but yet everyone on the side of Randa just playing the side bases still. This is exactly what you want to do. Wait for the opportunity, get numbers, and then push in. Everybody trapped outside on the side of Splyce, and now they're going to be forced to go over towards red base. So this is looking like some pretty solid Halo coming out from the side of the Randa squad.
Yeah, and Baby J was just playing that very patient too. Like, we saw him just going back and forth from blue base, just worrying about pit, and now just going back to pit one more time. Just putting on this little bit of pressure. He's not doing an all or nothing charge. One thing I see a lot of AM players do is they just kind of go, you know, balls to the wall. They just charge right into the base, and they're either going to win that fight and, like, get the conversion on that stronghold, or they're just going to give up their life.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, Dave, because I think that that's something Baby J would have done maybe a couple of months ago. He was known for being a little bit of a free-for-all player, someone that could be too aggressive at times. And you have to play patient here. You have to play the numbers game because you can get punished so hard in a Strongholds game type, or just really any game type in general in Halo 5 when you don't have control. I think that the change of the radar is going to make it a little bit less snowball-y as we see the players and the teams kind of adjust moving forward. But this has been a really solid start for this Randa squad, especially, if Commonly can get that kill, and he's not able to, so you're going to see a little bit of map control now going on over to Splyce. Are they going to be able to get that overshield? They don't. Baby J with the perfect shots, Dave.
Yeah, what a stop on that overshield. Now, this is also a score we both weren't fully expecting, seeing this 40-0 lead for Randa squad right off the bat. We talked about how Splyce were the heavy favorites.
Yeah, that's for sure, and let's see if Shooter's going to be able to bring these guys back. Pretty heavy deficit here. Triple cap in effect, now capturing the side base. You don't have anything to do in terms of being able to get the power-ups. You're just going to have to try to go outside and try to get some picks, and he doesn't even lay down any damage onto Randa. At least Boo Boo Doo Boo's able to clean up that pick, but yet still pit and capture, still a side base as well. Team Randa looking very impressive.
That's a really good point you brought up, though, where Shooter did not get that damage in on Randa there. Getting those extra shots makes all the difference in the world, even though I believe it was Baby J who was able, or sorry, not Baby J, I believe it was Shotzzy who was able to clean up that kill. End of the day, it's much easier to kill somebody when they have 3 or 4 shots in them instead of being like, all right, I only have 1 shot advantage. You have very little margin for error.
Yeah, it's wild to see how well these guys are playing. I mean, anything could happen in terms of a comeback. It's completely possible, but this has been some pretty flawless execution right from the start, capturing their own base, not overextending when they saw that the pit was captured on the side of Splyce. And now Splyce is going to have to get it together here. Let's see if it starts with Boo Boo Doo Boo getting that first kill onto Baby J, looking for some more on a prototype. He doesn't find it. However, they do have numbers here on the side of Splyce today. Maybe they can make something happen here.
And look at this play. Nice sneaky play by Commonly. Bites him, though, by that barrel shot. Commonly, what should have been a great fight for him. He knew he had his teammate weak around the corner, knew he had the perfect bait, but somehow Severus Shooter sniffed that one out and was able to take out Commonly. And that original person even got weak, just somehow darted away. That was just a little bit of a misplay, I feel like, from the side of Team Randa.
Yeah, Team Randa need to get it together here, but this is a really nice play from Shooter. Let's see if that secures the overshield here for Splyce. Shooter just waiting outside. That time did not come up when he thought it was, so this is gonna play in the favor of Team Randa over here. There is the overshield, and keep in mind that Renegade was the guy that burned that last time, so they should have had the exact time on that one. Instead, it's gonna be Commonly picking up the overshield. Shooter missing some extremely important shots, and it looks like a side base captured as well. Potential triple cap coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to call games early or anything, but at certain situations, when you're down by that much, you need to have things go in your favor. You need to be the one that gets that last second kill, gets that overshield. But when they're giving up overshield, they're giving up all 3 strongholds like this, I can't foresee Splyce coming back in this match.
That was such an important kill for Shooter to clean that up. When you're down, Dave, you cannot afford to make mistakes like that. However, you see commonly with a very sneaky play, potential overkill here. He's not going to be able to get the stick. However, he is staying alive and contesting as long as possible. Every second that he buys is enough for his teammates to come in there. And there it is, Baby J with the cleanup, the reset coming in. And it looks like Team Randa with the upset in game number 1 here on Empire Strongholds. What a game from them. What a play from Commonly at the end.
I just want to highlight that because you look at the difference between a couple of the plays we saw from Shooter earlier and that play from Commonly there. Both those times, they were in dire situations, times where that player was going to die. However, the times, that last time there, where Commonly was about to be taken down, he did so much damage. Took down 2 players with him, even stayed alive a little bit longer. The whole point being, even if Commonly was taking down that situation, he was getting those shots in. He was getting that melee in. He was making sure that player was one shot and going down with him.
Yeah, when we take a look at the stats, there wasn't anything that was too substantial. There wasn't anyone going hugely positive. It didn't seem like Splyce got outslayed by that much. I think it was maybe 3 kills max or something like that for the side of Team Randa. But the fact that they were able to get control in the beginning, hold it for so long, I think they got around like 75 points. And then all of a sudden, right when control started to go back into Splyce, they didn't panic. They immediately were like, all right, let's go outside for the overshield. Renegade didn't time the overshield over there. No one on Splyce timed that overshield, even the coach. And then all of a sudden, Shooter misses some huge shots. Overshield goes over to Commonly. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah, that's one thing that's interesting to me because when you look at on paper, you think about a player like Renegade and you see him going to the squad like Splyce. Like on paper, that team change is going to make, they're probably going to be better. However, you never take into account the support that someone like Renegade had before. You think about like how well he played with the Straight Ribbon squad, and you saw every single time Hines or someone would drop the sniper for him. They'd form this perimeter around Renegade. They'd give him this buffer zone where he could do so much work. And it felt like, we didn't watch Renegade too much there, but it just felt like a lot of these members from Splyce were just making a lot of individual mistakes. It didn't feel like they were one cohesive unit.
Yeah, and that's still game number 1, though. Easily something that you
They were sitting around for a little bit in lobby, too, waiting for us to get started here.
Yeah.
So
it's something that now, though, on the side of Team Randa, they got to take complete advantage of this. They need to come out and start this game off and still continue to just squeeze and not let up. And that is the problem that some players have, and in terms of being able to make it to the Pro League. But you're looking at, commonly you're looking at some pretty seasoned players on this team. I think in terms of the teams that Prototype has had an opportunity to have, in terms of making it into the pros, this is his best chance, in my opinion, here. And we're going to find out if they can continue to keep up that momentum over here. It looks like Randa has caught Renegade out over there in the yard area, finds a pretty easy kill. That would have been a nice flank over there towards the flowers area, but it gets shot down. However, Baby J walks away with the overshield.
One thing I want to highlight from Randa right there is I like that play where we went for the stick there. So one thing we keep trying to highlight, during that last round we talked about times where a Shooter didn't do enough damage. Instead, he might have went for a stick or didn't get as much damage as he should have. It's all situational depending on where you're at on the map and where your teammates are. If your teammates are nearby and they can somewhat help finish that off, yes, you want to just do that extra damage. Don't go for that sticky grenade. You don't go for that all or nothing play. Whereas if you're in this isolated corner, in an isolated room, go for that sticky play because you're not going to have somebody come around the corner and clean that up.
Yeah, Baby J's in a really good spot. He has overshield, but I don't think he realizes that he only has a couple of shots in this battle rifle, so he's going to have maybe one more burst here before he has to shoot on over to his pistol.
Yeah, he definitely did not know.
And that just ruins his shields, and now he's going to end up getting caught over down towards the driveway. Really nice shots onto Boo Boo Doo Boo, but not able to finish the kill. Jesse is going to get that one, and however, you do see the lead kind of going on over to the side of Randa and Control as well.
Yeah, trying to get an eye on that sniper. I know commonly has it, but I haven't really seen it been put to much work at the moment. We haven't seen the kill feed being filled up with it. And maybe it's because the map has been a little chaotic for a bit. It's really tough when you're the sniper and you don't have a full setup. A lot of times you probably just have your pistol out, worrying about your own back rather than sniping across the map.
Ooh, really nice shots there coming in from Baby J. Boo Boo Doo Boo's going to drop. Let's see if Shooter's going to be able to recover from what happened before, and unfortunately that is not going to be the case as Prototype gives him the beatdown. Everywhere you switch on over, you're seeing some really nice individual plays coming out from this Randa squad.
And I don't like to ever highlight the negative parts, but I feel like we've watched Shooter 3 or 4 times here, And in 3 or 4 individual situations, we've seen him fall short. Like whether it's dealing a little bit more damage, whether it's not backing down early enough and staying alive, or in that case, just T-Rex arm in that melee.
T-Rex arms for sure, and the overshield is going to go on over to Renegade and Splyce. However, Commonly does have the sniper rifle. Let's see if they're aware of where he is. Seems like from the player outlines, everybody is trying to hunt these guys down over in the blue area. You could see Prototype is going to drop, but Commonly doing a nice job staying off radar and baiting while using the communication coming in from Prototype.
And that was an interesting play right after Commonly got that. I thought he was going to sprint towards Yard, but he knew that a couple members were hunting him down, chasing straight towards Yard. I figured that he would rotate over this direction towards Lift or Sniper side.
This is perfect plays coming in from Commonly. I mean, look at him even switching on over to his pistol to get the guy that was no shields. I mean, he was hitting some pretty good shots. He probably could have easily got that body shot. But either way, I really like the awareness, not being greedy, and continuing to take that guy down to no shield so his teammates can pick up the kill. I mean, what a fantastic play to end Empire Strongholds. And now he's rotating while Splyce did have the overshield to try to secure this sniper rifle for his team. But Boo Boo Doo with the heads-up play and finally dropping Commonly.
Yeah, that was an incredible play by Boo Boo Doo. Just having been in this situation so many times before on Plaza Slayer, just realizing, all right, we have poster side covered. We're going to be pushing up Cinema Stairs. We know that they're going to probably push all the way over towards Cafe. So Boo Boo Doo already has that angle cut off in case the player went down from left side or down that ramp.
It's a good opportunity to push on over towards the flower sides if they want to. Shotzzy, first time we've called his name out from his point of view over here, is stuck over with the battle rifle on the side of the nest, but nobody pushes over here. It looks like they're just going to slow this one down, Dave. I think they're waiting for the next overshield on the side of Randa, which is the right play. However, when they get people weak on over towards S4, they need to be sending players over towards the flowers. There's the opportunity right now. They're getting a pinch from behind from both sides on glass. Prototype gets the kill. However, Boo Boo Doo with the snipe shuts down the push.
Yeah, huge shot by Boo Boo right there with the snipe, but I was just a little hesitant or curious as to why they didn't push over to Cafe a little bit earlier. As soon as you get that sniper, you want to have a couple quadrants of the map. That way you have angles. You don't have to worry about being shot from 2 different sides of the map. You just need to worry about, like, all right, I can just worry straight towards glass, or I can worry towards Cafe.
Nice burn there by Baby J. He ends up getting the overshield and taking that one away from Splyce. But seems like Splyce has bounced back from game number 1 and is starting to get their footing here. Nice flank coming in from Shooter. Let's see if he can finish it off. Oh no, if he loses this one, I was going to say that was going to be very, very poor timing again for Shooter. Like you said, doesn't seem like his shot, Dave, is really on right now.
Yeah, that one didn't come back to bite him. He was able to close that one out, but those are sort of the mistakes you don't see at other top-level play where people are just going to close that kill out a little bit faster. They're going to be ready to deal damage to another player if they're nearby. So Shooter's he's a top player, but he's just having an off game or off series so far.
Yeah, I think he's got the same problem I do. I got some cobwebs in my controller or something like that. But either way, still, Shooter is doing his role here and just locking down.
What a nerdy spot.
Oh, look at this.
Check
no one
this
even
out.
looking at him, just sitting there, hiding, poking back out. Shooter with the plays. He's like, you know what, guys? I'm not hitting my shots. I'm just going to hide, wait for like everyone to poke out and be weak, and then I'm going to come out.
Shooter having no trouble cleaning that one up when he gets the first 4 shots in the back. That player in Yard. Is he going to go for the same hiding spot twice? I mean, when I played hide and seek as a kid, I never fell for the same spot twice. I would always check that closet again. I would always check those different spots.
I don't know. Looks like these guys didn't play as much hide and seek, Dave, as you did when you were a little kid. I was always the kid with the light-up shoes, and I was always wondering why I got caught. But yeah, so either way, Shooter, he's making some moves, and Splyce is starting to pull away with the lead. 15 kills now.
Yeah, and I want to see what Shooter, if he keeps trying to press this advantage, it looks like he's collapsing in. So this is one thing that Shooter, even if he is having some subpar individual shots during some of these games, like his flanks are on point. We saw before he flanked towards this driveway. Another time right there, flanking in towards Yard at the exact same moment as his teammate. That's one thing that doesn't really seem to change for a lot of these top pros is, yeah, their shot's going to fluctuate a slight little bit, but their decision-making is what sets them apart. And right there, Shooter showing why he's one of the top players in the game.
All about this overshield here if you want to get back in it if you are Team Randa, but Shotzzy picking up a double kill. Prototype, he's not able to find the overshield. That one's going to go on over to Splyce, and Shotzzy picks up the overshield and the green gun, so that's going to be zero chance to get back in this one if you are Team Randa right now. This is looking like a possible stake here, Dave.
And I hate to point it out, Tom, but we were using this noob combo back when Shotzzy was about 4 or 5 years old. So That's when Halo 2 is coming out, man. That is crazy to think about how much history this game has and how bright of a future this player right here has, Shotzi, because I feel like most players aren't in their prime at the age Shotzi is. They're going to be hitting prime closer to around 20, 22 years old. So to see how good of a player Shotzi is at how young he is, he just has a bright future ahead of him for professional Halo.
Yeah, and it's just so fun to watch when a new player comes in because everyone's always introducing new play styles as well. And I feel like Shotzi definitely has his own little individual way of playing, definitely very mechanically skilled as well. But it looks like we have slowed the game down just a little bit. I'm surprised to see Splyce not get extremely aggressive over here. I mean, they have a pretty substantial lead, and they've been playing pretty solid. But they're playing this one by the book, making sure that they close this one out. I mean, this is a tournament after all, guys. Got to play it as smart as possible, and that's exactly what they're doing. But 49-30, it's all but over here for Team Randa. Looks like Splyce going to tie this series up 1-1.
Yeah, this one's going to be 1-1, and like you said, it's odd that they aren't just charging and trying to get this last kill, but maybe it is showing their discipline. It's showing how even if they get a substantial lead, they want to hold on to that and make sure that they aren't building bad habits and just charging and making mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, where did that one kind of get away from him? It seems like as soon as Commonly died with the sniper rifle, everything kind of went downhill there for the side of the Randa squad. And it just seemed like they weren't getting aggressive enough when they had the opportunity to push on over towards snipe and not utilizing the soda and flowers area of the map a little bit. But we have the benefit of the doubt in being able to see where their setups are weak on the side of the Splyce area. But it seemed like to me they could have utilized glass and flowers just a little bit more and pushed up that soda ramp.
Yeah, it felt like they didn't make very good pushes. Anytime Splyce had control of Sniper and Cafe, they just never were able to break that in a consistent manner. And like you said, they also were giving up so many deaths. They would just sometimes charge right out from flowers or charge out by glass and give up an easy kill. Like, there's, in a standoff situation, there should be no way that someone like Shooter is able to flank around through driveway and get those. He did 2 or 3 flanks at driveway, cleaning up 2 to 4 kills.
So, guys, we are getting confirmation that this is a best of 7 here instead of a best of 5. So you asked for more Halo. Maybe you dreamed about it. Maybe you prayed for it, but you got it. And we are moving into game number 3 now, which is going to be CTF Fathom. So after a 1-1 split, we're right back to where we started, a best of 5, Dave.
Welcome
to the stream, guys.
You didn't miss anything. If you're tuning in a little late, we are
just a
back
killing
to
frenzy.
A
You only missed a killing frenzy.
Now, I'm curious also what game types got in there. I did not fully look at the list at the moment when we had the game type list up, but it looks like we now have a Truth CTF and an Eden Slayer in this lineup. So I'm not sure out of these 2 squads who that's going to favor. I feel like something like Truth CTF based on how we saw Empire Strongholds. To me, that's looking like Team Randa. However, we could also see Splyce finally getting their groove because this looked like a completely different team. Even though we saw a couple misexecutions individually that last game, that was still a near stake.
Yeah, it was really important, again, once they were in the game on the Randa side, to not let up and try to just be in the game as much as possible. Because as long as they can keep it close, I mean, they've already showed that they can dominate a game. But the goal, in my opinion, is anytime that you're going up against someone that is the favorite, you just want to make sure that you're never letting the game get too far out of hand. And that's one of the unfortunate mistakes that they ended up making in that game. So we'll see how they can do it. CTF Fathom is something that commonly is going to be very good at. He's very aggressive towards the flag. You're going to see a lot of control from Splyce, though, coming out in terms of getting top center and just controlling the power-ups and power weapons. So should be a pretty entertaining game here. I think the big thing that I'm looking for is Splyce, really good at Slayer, or is the guys on the Randa squad pretty good at objective? Because it's so weird seeing just a completely flip-flop in games. I mean, we go back to a couple Halos back. I can't really recall any game types being so much different than the game types in Halo 5 are from game type to game type, map to map, because you could be really strong at, say, strongholds, but not, be very good at CTF. So it's really weird to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I think it kind of correlates with players' aggression. It's interesting because you look at someone like Comley or whatever, he can bust through the base, create an opening, get a kill, get a control of a stronghold all by himself, and that just changes the entire pace of the game. Whereas on Slayer, a lot of times those charges, those are going to be giving up a death during a standoff situation, then a whole charge happens after that, and it kind of snowballs against you. So it's almost like you want to utilize that aggression on certain objectives, especially something like strongholds, but you also want to just tone that back quite a bit when it gets to Slayer. It's just about making fewer mistakes when it comes to Slayer.
All right, CTF Fathom, guys, this one is underway. Let's hop on board with someone from the blue side here, and we'll go with the guy who got the killing frenzy previously it is Shotzi, who is going to be pushing on over towards the silo. Pretty popular play. It's a good job getting the shots on the guy top center. You can also get a pretty good flank over here. You just want to do exactly what he's doing right now and make sure that you charge in there so they don't spawn on the elbow. So I felt like charging in there, trying to win that 1v1, he'd be in a much better situation than he is now.
I agree. That's a mistake I consistently see at even
Everyone
at
trying to
highest
make
level
it.
of play is basically players, they'll get these kills over by silo or they'll get a kill or two, and they don't charge right on the flag. On Fathom, players can hide in over on that generator near that elbow, and they can basically isolate 1v1s if you don't bring in multiple players to grab the flag. So I think that's a massive mistake by Shotzi. Just not trying, like you said, challenging that 1v1. He has a strong shot. He's such a good player, and that's a high risk, low risk, high reward situation.
Commonly just destroyed 2 players in a 2v1 situation that he should not have won. That was fantastic job, by Commonly. If you guys missed it, he did not even have the first 1 or 2 shots on the player in the treehouse. Killed that guy with no shields and then dominated the guy behind him. Fantastic heads-up play by him. Now let's see what Shooter's doing over here with the light rifle. Posting up, trying to lay down some shots as the rest of the guys pushing over towards the elbow area, but he did drop. Felt like Shooter could have possibly stayed top center a little bit more. It's like that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting here with the new radar in this is you used to just be able to kind of sit in your porch or sit in your elbow and just be ready just to AR somebody coming around the corner and trade to make sure that someone doesn't grab your flag. That's not quite the case here anymore. I mean, you have a general idea of where someone might come from, but you don't have the exact timing. And in fact, you have to hit all those shots too.
So Boo Boo Doo Boo over here trying to play a little bit of defense as
right there is a perfect opportunity, example. Right there, that was a situation where Boo Boo would have won that fight 90% of the time in the old settings because he would have been aware of the radar. He could have still watched top center and been
You mean because you don't have to look at your screen, Dave, and you could just stare at maybe what is that? 1/50th of your screen. You just focus on that little area right there.
Yeah.
Maybe not 50. Maybe that's like 25, 1/25th of your screen.
He would just keep tabs on it, but that was the whole point right there. Is he now has to be much more aware of the situation and got caught off guard there at porch.
Baby J going swimming as Randa grabbing the flag, trying to put this one into the window. Is he going to be able to thrust this one in? He is. First cap going on over to Randa. Looking good here in the objectives.
No, I mean, I don't want to call it too early, but based on what we've seen so far these last 2 games, it feels like Team Randa are better objective-wise at the moment compared to Splyce. It seems like, I don't know, when you look at even like the age of the players on Splyce, you got young guns. I mean, you got Boo Boo, you got Shotzi and Renegade, all very young players, all very talented players, but at the same time, I would say a lot of times age kind of correlates with objective experience. You are going to know how to handle so many different situations much better when it comes to objective. You're going to know what to do when your flag is out. You're going to know when to run a counter cap. You're going to know when to just go for the stop. And those are mistakes that I feel like we're going to still see from a lot of these players, a lot of these young guns, especially someone like Shotzi, for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, they're still going to be gaining tons of experience, and that's, one of the things that's going to be really scary, Dave, because think about it, if they still are making just very minor objective mistakes, but still playing at, a top 8 level or very close to that, if they're able to, secure it into the Pro League, definitely top 8, but they still have tons of upside and tons of learning potential here. But you're going up against some very seasoned players, and sometimes putting yourself in the best position it's not all about your individual shot and your individual skill here, Dave.
No, it definitely is not. I mean, that is a common piece that every single player here shares. They all have incredible shots, but at the same time, what separates some of these top players is just how few mistakes they make. You look at players like Optic, they have, equivalent shots to most of these players on Splyce, maybe slightly better, but they just don't make many mistakes. They just play the game perfectly. They sit in the right positions, they pull the flags at the right time, and most importantly, they let their opponents make mistakes and they capitalize on it.
Shotzi jumping up and down here, bottom center, trying to distract Randa, but Prototype's going to get a kill onto Renegade, and now Shotzi has to just use his radar and the call-outs around him to try to make a play, but look at this, Commonly just moving around, playing this one perfectly. You can't really play it much more perfectly than Commonly played it right there, unless he's able to get the kill, then that would be some serious work, but look at him still alive and finally dropping to Shotzi, doing whatever he can to secure that cap for his team, but unfortunately for him, it looks like Splyce going to be able to get that return and potentially get control of the map.
Yeah. Possibly, but yeah, like you said before, the way that Conley played that, those are just some of those most frustrating situations, and they actually lead to future mistakes. There's nothing more frustrating in Halo than having that person who's one shot that should have died, and it feels like one of your teammates should have an angle, and they just get away over and over again. And you try to go back to the drawing board even after practice and say, how are we going to continually clean these up? How am I supposed to be calling this out, or how am I supposed to be isolating this kill better?
Here's another example of a no shields guy staying alive, but Boo Boo Doo Boo with the perfect headshot to shut down Randa. Randa going in for the ninja there. Looks like you do have tons of players pushing in here on the side of Splyce. Are they going to be able to get this flag out and try to get a lead here in the game? Obviously tied up 1-1 in this best-of-7 series. Railgun popping up on the map in the next 18 seconds over here. And you can see Renegades just securing this porch area to try to watch that bottom center area. It's a really important area to lock down to make sure people aren't getting that free angle over towards that railgun. But looks like he's made his way all the way back, and instead of being aggressive and getting the objective out, he's gone back for some defense there, Dave.
Yeah, not sure where that one fell short. Not sure if it was a mistake from the other players at Splyce for not guarding their flag well enough, or if he wasn't on the correct side of the map, because at some point you do want somebody to flank back, come back, get some of those spawn kills. But you also got to consider that Renegade was kind of on that flag, chasing someone over at Silo, kind of just doing this 1v1 situation while his teammates were all on the other side of the map.
Like he could have brought the flag with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he went from one end to the other. Isn't that the objective, is to go from one end to the other with the flag? But either way here, still 1-1. And it is really important to get players out of your base, though, Dave. But I think that you and I always have had the same philosophy that you can always die and come right back to your own base anyway. So what's the point of sitting there and playing defense unless the situation calls for it? Obviously, you don't want someone to flank in there for free and get that one out. Either way, here we do see pretty much trade in map position over here. Splyce has now made their way over towards top center after taking out Commonly and company with the railgun over here. And now they're going to be able to push into the base, and this is the play they've been waiting for.
Yes, and Shooter just eyeing out these players, trying to find out where they're at. And this is really good by Shooter because he's just making sure nobody leaves the base. They're not going to leave the base until they clear out Shooter. And so this gives his teammates on Splyce an opportunity to go clear out top middle, go clear out treehouse, and win that 3-on-2 situation, and then eventually collapse in. So Shooter kind of pushed up a little too far there, kind of given the situation, because he knew he had at least a 1-on-1. He knew there was going to be at least one player there at the base waiting for him. So there was no incentive for him to charge up there and fight that fight unless he had backup.
Yeah, going back to an earlier point we were talking about laying down as much damage as possible. These are the instances, especially in CTF Fathom, when you're trying to get into a base, that you lay down as much damage as possible, whether you're going to die or not. So the fact that Commonly only got one shot off there now means that Baby J has to fight that much harder. But Baby J with the nice shots on the Renegade and shuts him down. And this flag is being pulled there, Dave. It looks like the flag has been secured as well. So 2-1 there for Team Randa, and that's one of those plays, Dave. I don't know if you see out of Splyce, you don't have that objective prowess coming out from these guys. They really just want to slay, slay, slay. No one gets in there for the sneaky cap.
Yeah, they're not going to pull those nearly as often. Sure, they're going to get those every once in a while, but I feel like if anyone, it's probably going to be someone like Shooter. Like, he's probably going to be putting himself in a situation to get that kill, pull the flag, and then run it in the correct direction. There just has to be a lot going right in those situations. But, like, what we saw from Team Randa right there, they got, what, maybe 3 or 4 kills over the course of, like, that 40 seconds in order to get that cap. It wasn't like they had to overpower Splyce. They didn't have to get slay round after slay round in order to get a flag capture. And it feels like Splyce is kind of going to that direction. They feel like, all right, well, we need to control top center. All right, now we collapse in and get the kills in the base. Oh, now that we got the kills in the base, we'll run the flag back and we need to get spawn kills again. So they're kind of setting themselves up in a situation where they have to get a lot of slays in order to get a capture.
Commonly flanking around, gets the kill, but Shotzi has the railgun and the flag is being pulled out. That's going to be double kill. Shotzi possibly looking for the triple. It's really important to get these guys out of the engine if you want to win this game. On the side of Randa, Commonly coming in there, gets 1, gets 2. Commonly is coming up huge at the end of these games, Dave.
But look at that. We even saw, all right, so Commonly had a huge play right there. But overall, we saw slays going in the favor of Splyce. They got those railgun kills. They got a couple kills outside the base. And the flag didn't even make it out from porch.
Yeah, the flag needs to get to the halfway point, but you got to give credit where it's due. Again, Commonly is pulling things out of the rabbit is coming out of the hat here, pretty much. He has all the tricks up his sleeve, and it's insane to see the sneaky plays coming out from a team that is so aggressive and so well-rounded. Usually it's very hard to find that window, and very often you can panic in certain situations like that, but it seems like these guys are playing very calm, cool, and collected, And it makes me wonder again, Dave, about what we talked about before. Ooh, nasty shots coming out from Prototype. Is it just that Splyce is really good at Slayers, or is Randa just a little bit better at Objective?
I think Team Rand is just a little bit better objective, and I also got to agree with you, though. We do have to give a lot of props to Commonly. We talked about which players are going to be better from some of these new changes, and it feels like Commonly, we thought maybe I personally thought he might lose a step because he was always
like
known
a
like
croucher.
Yeah,
like
he was
radar
always
guy.
Well, he was always super aggressive and would win those up close fights with AR. So he was always comfortable like sprinting around the corner, charging and win those fights. It seems like he still has that same aggression, yet somehow as much, if not more, skill.
Yeah, what I really like to watch right now is him picking and choosing his battles. And I think that that's really what Halo is all about. And then also when you're put in situations where you don't have that much information around and you have to make a play all on your own. And it seems like that's kind of what he's doing right now. You could see him just methodically pushing into the base. He sees a teammate gets a slay right now.
Oh,
and now he's going to pull this flag. No, this is great. He should run this one bottom middle. This is a great play if he could do it. Booba right there. If he can get this kill, that'd be huge, but he can't. There it is, though. The flag's bottom center, and this flag is pretty far. It's going to be up to Shooter. Shooter at the end of the game. Renegade gets a double kill here, so he clutches that one up, and there goes the return.
Here's why I was saying I didn't not like that play. There was only 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the game as he's over at that flag. At that point, you just need to go for any sort of slays. Get some sort of top center control. Get any sort of kill. Right there, commonly grab the flag without getting a kill prior. Now, if he got a kill and then ran the flag, I could see that one because you throw a little bit of mix into the situation. But right now, because of that play from Commonly earlier and giving up that death, right now, this could be a situation where Splyce caps this, ties it up 2-2, and we could go to overtime.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. Could that be a big mistake to go and pull the flag? Someone flies in with the beatdown. It's Baby J. No, the flag does not get returned. Renegade grabs it right above his head, and there it does. It gets captured. That was crazy to me. That looked like that flag got returned.
Yeah, Baby J almost was the hero right there with that ground pound and return, but I believe that was Renegade who ended up getting the grab and putting in that second flag to tie the game 2-2.
That was absolutely insane. There was just a little bit sliver left on that flag. I just watched it on the stream, and what a play coming out from Renegade, grabbing that one with just a little bit left. And you're right, Dave, maybe it was a mistake to pull that flag, but we'll find out if Team Randa can come back after that cap with only about 10 seconds left here. What a clutch play by Splyce.
Yeah, and I feel like that flag cap from Splyce, though, was taking advantage of Team Randa's mistake. It wasn't so much Splyce being in the perfect position, setting up the perfect flag grab and route. Is more like, all right, Team Randa made a mistake or two, and Splyce capitalized on it, which is good. You want to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes, but you don't want to rely on always waiting for your opponent to make a mistake in order to get some sort of flag capture. You need to have structured ways to push in and grab that flag, and I like what Renegade's doing right here, getting control of the opponent's base. But why is he backing down? He has some help there. It looks like he's more concerned about getting top center control and getting full map control rather than just forcing this flag. And maybe it is a good choice. I mean, we talked about before how Shooter would have a player in the opponent's base and have them just wasting their time as he's out in the center being a factor. So maybe that was kind of Renegade's play, was saying, all right, this person's going to waste their time looking for me.
This is big if Baby J can get the kill here. A couple grenades coming in from Renegade, but Baby J finally going to be able to get the cleanup. Shotzi finding the kill onto Commonly. That was the flag runner. A couple players going to spawn on over there and rush over towards the treehouse. Should be an easy return there for Splyce, and it is, as Baby J now trying to stay alive bottom center over here. Looks like now Splyce is going to be able to get some top center control over here, Dave. Everyone did push over and got that return, so maybe a little bit too much objective coming out from Commonly quite again. But Prototype now rotating over here with the light rifle. I really like this play.
Yeah, just being top center light rifle, lay a few shots down. However, needs to worry more about where his teammates are. Shooting all the way across towards window is good if you have a teammate who's near elbow or near porch that can go in and clean that up to eventually pull the flag. You don't want to be starting with those fights, though, especially with the new radar, because you don't know if somebody's creeping below you, someone's coming out to your side near treehouse. You have to worry about yourself first before doing those cross-map shots with the light rifle.
Yeah, Baby J pushed in right there, kind of sacrificing himself for Prototype to try to get in here and run this flag. That's a big grenade if it lands. It doesn't. Shotzi comes in with the cleanup, and now Randa going to try to push in over here towards the base. Looks like Splyce is going to try to make one last push over here, but I don't think it's going to be enough time over here as multiple players are going to spawn over towards the elbow. Most likely going to be a replay unless something miraculous happens over here. Prototype getting the shots onto Shotzi. That's going to back him down commonly over here as well. Should be it, and we should be going to a full replay over here as the clock does tick down 7-6. And that is going to be a very nice game coming out from both teams, especially by Splyce at the end to tie that one up.
Yeah, incredible plays by Splyce. I feel like commonly also was, despite a decision I disagreed with at the end by pulling that flag, I still feel like he was one of the star players of that game, just pulling off some ridiculous kills. Look at that, 34 and 20 for commonly. And those all weren't cleanup kills like you talked about before, running around the corner, running into 2 players, and them getting first shots, and commonly somehow getting a double kill.
Yeah, and he had 3 flag grabs. We saw 2 of those. One was kind of a mistake. The other one...
And it's arguable, too, because even at that exact situation, you and I both talked about, like, I felt like it was a mistake at the time. You were like, this actually isn't bad.
If he would have got the kill onto Boo Boo Doo Boo, that would have been huge. And he was slowing down just a little bit, but we do have a recap of that final capture there to tie this one up 2-2. Let's go ahead and roll that footage over here. It was a fantastic ground pound coming in from Baby J. You can see that flag did get touched, and there goes the return. It is so close to being returned, only a sliver there, and it seemed like he was on it too.
Yeah.
At the same time. So.
Just seems like Renegade did a really good job just snagging it up as
we
fast
can call it
as
whatever we want
could.
to call it. That is a great job, I guess, to tie that one up. But it's so difficult to capture in CTF Fathom to be able to do it with the last minute when you're on the ropes. That's just really great for Splyce. But I'm wondering now what happens with the mental stability of the Randa squad. How much are they able to brush that one off going into this next replay? And it is a full replay if I am correct.
I believe so. I believe we do full replay and then we do something like that the following game. But
okay.
Yeah, one thing I wish we had a stat for this is how often after a team like ties it up to bring in overtime does that team actually win the overtime game?
That's a good stat. I mean? I want to know that stat as well.
Because I just guessing, I would have to say it's something like 75% of the time because you're just so distraught after a team brings the game into a tie situation where it's like, we had the game, what's going on here? But we are kicking it off. This is a full replay of Team Randa versus Splyce on Fathom CTF. This could be a big momentum swing because they've been playing this map already for 12 minutes or 15 minutes. And to walk away with a loss on this one going into game number 4, you don't want to be put in that situation.
Not at all, but it looks like they're having a nice start to this one. Baby J, I think it is, picking up 2 kills within 30 seconds. And now the aggression coming in. Prototype pushing in. Is he going to go top center, or is he going to slow this one over towards the treehouse area? Renegade does have the railgun who's going to drop. That means Prototype's going to want that gun. The push coming in, though, and it looks like they're not able to get the damage that they wanted. So that's just nice defense coming in from Shooter, and that's what's just so frustrating for me as someone that wants to get aggressive and just push in, to constantly have people just waiting at the base. Just makes this game type to me so frustrating.
Yeah, that can be frustrating. However, that advantage is somewhat diminished now with the radar and the automatics. But also at the same time, it's a situation I kind of hope for when I'm playing. Because if I'm pushing the opponent's base and I know and I am allowed to get in a fight there, if I win that fight, I know that player is not going to be a factor at all during that full entire flag run. I can get that kill and start running the flag across the map.
But Dave, you got to worry about during that time someone spawning and sprinting all the way over and grabbing your flag and bringing it to the opposite side of the map, which happens in all of these standoffs. But either way here, you do want to get top center control and get position, and Shooter is caught on the bottom of the map with the rest of Splyce. So this is not looking good for them. That's why you can see him immediately trying to get towards the top area to run this flag with his teammate. And Baby J coming in with another ground pound. Is he going to be able to save this flag? It looks like he's not going to, because Shooter going for. That's like when you go and you're a little kid and you're jumping in the pool and you catch the ball at the same time and you feel so cool. I feel like that's what Shooter just did.
Yeah, he pulled it off, but this one didn't look nearly as cool as when we pulled it off as kids.
No, not at all.
And one thing I was going to question there with Shooter was when you're escorting your flag player, it's tough finding that right balance of, all right, do I go back and shoot the players who are trying to catch up with my flag carrier, or do I go ahead and clear the path for any people that are going to try to cut off my flag carrier? And that just comes down to a lot of practice with your team and realizing the situation. So Shooter, in that exact situation, thought that his team didn't have enough backup behind his flag carrier. So he went down there to try to cover that player's back as he ran through pit. But instead, a couple players just ended up going over towards his yard, and it felt like Shooter was doing a really good job all around. I just had to question what the situation was, where his other teammates were, because it felt like someone should have been able to cut off those other players that were able to finish off Shooter before he took a little dive.
Commonly is laying down so much damage, doing whatever he can to stop this flag from being ran by Splyce. Baby J picking up a double kill. Randa finds one as well. Now Shooter's the last guy alive. Can he save this flag for his team?
Great play right here.
This is very smart. Going top center and coming in for the immediate flank. They are not going to be expecting this one, and that is what you want to see from Shooter. They should be able to secure this capture as he was the last guy alive. No, they were not. That looks like the flag got returned.
Yeah, I still like this play though. I thought that was kind of the mentality that Shooter's going in with was, all right, I'm the last one alive. I'm probably not going to grab this flag, so I'm going to go top center, gain kills in yard, and then pull a brand new flag, and that's exactly what Shooter did. This one is looking really good for Splyce at the moment. I'd be very surprised if they do not capture this.
Yeah, Baby J is going to try to get over there for the touch. Shotzi picks up the kill. This is going to be put in by Shooter any second here. Randa flying in, but that is just going to be a useless death. Sometimes you just got to give that cap up. But you're right, Dave. That was fantastic counterplay coming in from Shooter. I thought that he was going for the double cap. Personally, I thought the grenades were more than enough time, and the angle that he took was fast enough. But it looks like they probably double hopped that one, or someone came in and just got that at the perfect timing. And it could have potentially been 2-0 if Shooter maybe had just 1 or 2 more grenades, Dave.
Now this is that's an interesting bait play, which I feel like it works very well in more previous Halos because you don't risk getting the hit markers on yourself. Right there, if that was Pit and rockets were coming up, I feel like that's an okay play to make. But the fact that hit markers come up is almost guaranteed that unless a player's already on the other side of that tunnel, someone's going to chuck a grenade down there if that weapon is up.
Yeah, and shout out to Sims. Grenades coming in. What is it?
Left, right, and center.
Left, right, and center.
Doing God's work.
Thick and fast. Oh, man. That guy's funny. Shout out to Sims. Shout out to all the EU guys coming out to Daytona. It's going to be a good time. Maybe I'll see you guys there. But either way, we are on board with Renegade over here, who I guess you could say was the MVP of the last game or the end of last game for the Splyce side.
Getting that flag grab, yeah. I mean,
overall MVP commonly, probably with the fantastic plays that he was having. But it's kind of been up to these guys. It's Renegade and Commonly kind of battling it out here in terms of who's playing the best for both of these squads. Yeah, and I want to just see kind of like Renegade's comfort level because I felt like one thing he had on straight before was he had the confidence that his team was going to run that objective and get that objective done as long as getting kills. You had players like Ace and Hines who were always on top of that. They were always one step ahead, ready to grab that flag as long as Renegades were cleaning up those kills. Whereas it feels like right now, there's plenty of times where I was questioning, like, why didn't Renegade pull that flag? Was Renegade in the perfect position to guard his flag carrier? So we're going to have to see if Renegade has to change his playstyle at all with this new roster because, like I said, it's completely different seeing a roster on paper compared to how the roster actually plays together. Ooh, nice job by Prototype staying alive. Baby J gets the railgun kill onto Renegade. Now the rest of Splyce spawning on over towards their silo area. This could be the play to get these guys back into the game for Randa. There it is. Splyce not able to get the kill onto Prototype. Perfect play coming out from Baby J and Prototype working together.
Yeah, and one thing I got a question is, how does Randa get this good of teammates when he makes his team Randa? It's like, hey guys, do you want to get like a team org? Do you want to get like Cloud9 or whatever? Nope, we're going as Team Randa. Let's get this going.
Well, maybe Randa put these guys together and now they're just going as Randa because he's just got that kind of effect on people. But either way, I just got to say that Prototype, the way that he played that one, I didn't think that he was going to be able to live from Renegade, the way that Renegade was popping out. And that means that these guys' communication is definitely on point right now because you saw that Prototype hid behind the wall and then Baby J came out and flied in there with the railgun kills. So just heads up play coming out from these guys. And it looked like up until that point, Dave, this was all Splyce.
Yeah,
so
and
the fact that they were able to get that cap is huge because they haven't had control for most of this game.
Yeah, and that was more of a testament to how efficient they were once they actually got control. They got control for that little bit. And Shooter, we talked about who's going to pull some of those great flag plays here for Splyce, who we want to see out of, and it's Shooter. Right there, we saw a situation where I didn't see anyone down yet from Team Randa, but Shooter pulled that one preemptively as they're getting these kills, and they cleaned up those ones, and that was the most efficient flag run we've seen from Splyce yet.
However, Splyce is on the spawn cycle right now. You have multiple players pushing in, one from the elbow, another one top center here in front of the base, Baby J. But you do have a player, Boo Boo Doo, who went in front of the base, and that's one of the things that you gotta watch out for. Very common play there to go in front of the bonfire or in front of the base, whatever you want to call it, and just crouch waiting for players to push into there, especially when the radar used to be so effective over there with the new radar. Maybe not as popular of a play.
And especially when the game's kind of at a standoff situation. Like after there's been a little bit of turmoil and fights going back and forth, you might not expect somebody to be there. But when the game slows down a bit, I mean, that's one of the very first spots you got to check. You
Yeah.
just got to be like, all right, we don't see any of them yet coming towards Treehouse. Don't see them coming from this direction. Well, they're not all going to be hiding their base. They have to be spread out a little bit on their half of the map.
Kind of a questionable play there for Randa going in there and challenging when he could have probably stayed alive and had that player chase him and bait him down towards the bottom of the map. But either way, Renegade over here with the railgun trying to put in some work for Splyce, and it doesn't seem like he's in a good position right now. Multiple players are behind him. However, he is able to find the kill onto Randa. Another player is chasing him, and he finds Baby J as well. That's going to be all 4 dead. This is the opportunity here for Splyce. Renegade needs to rotate back towards top center, though. He's taking way too long.
This is a massive mistake. He's also blocking the spawns in the base. It's okay to try to push towards Yard and get those kills over at Silo or something along those lines, but the fact that he blocked the spawns in the base.
It's okay, you got boo-boo-doo-boo, Dave. Don't worry, I'm going to have to cut you off. It was not the right play, but you got boo-boo-doo-boo. What he was looking for there, though, was for people coming out of the silo back towards bottom center. However, I would have much rather seen a top center route right there.
Yeah, or even just like go towards garage. You can still watch those same routes.
Yeah.
Just go towards garage side, and you aren't blocking the base. I don't know. Either way, worked out, I guess. I'm always not a big proponent of just saying just because it worked out was the right decision. Like, I always try to think of like the long term. Like, all right, if you had this situation play out 10 or 20 times, how often would that have played out in your favor?
I ate a whole pizza last night. It seemed like a really good idea at the time. It wasn't. It really wasn't. But that's a 2-1 series lead now for Splyce. That was a replay of game number 3 because it was a tie. Let's go ahead and take a look at the series. This is a best of 7, guys. So very, very good if you are a fan of Plaza in these first couple of games. Again, we had a feeling whoever was going to win these Plaza games is going to walk away with the series. Seemed like that happened in game number 2 for Splyce. Can they do it again here in game number 4?
Yeah, and I think that's actually huge for Splyce to win that OBJ game right there, especially when you thought there was only a minute and 20 left. We saw Randa up by 1, and the fact that they were able to tie that one up and win the overtime game kind of a testament to our stat that we're trying to make up here.
Yeah, we need to start keeping track of that stat like as of right now. Like so right now
100%.
100%. never going to lose undefeated if you end up tying the game.
Yep, if you tie it at the end. This can't be like, sometime in the middle of the game, like when there's still like 6 or 7 minutes left. Yeah, within the last minute. Within the last minute.
It's tough. I mean, it's like, having a big lead in a sport and then all of a sudden it just diminishes off of a silly mistake like a turnover or something like that. So I guess you can call whatever it is, whether you play tennis and unforced error, I guess you can call it. And that's just unfortunate when you're the underdog. Again, you do not want to make those type of mistakes. But I feel like just overall the way that this series has played out, win or lose, coming out from Randa, I would still feel really good about myself because they played these guys really tough game number 1. Won that one pretty handily. Game number 2 got out of hand for them, but they were pretty good in the beginning, first half of that game in the early game. And then game number 3, very, very, very easily in their favor. Just threw it away at the end. And if they can continue to just fight tough here, that's all you can really ask for. Again, keep in mind that Randa and Baby J are not officially on this team. They're just kind of filling in eventually for when Devin and Alatown do come in.
Yeah, and you almost got to wonder if you're Commonly and Prototype, if you're doing this well with Randa and Baby J, like at some point, if things don't work out well with your other rosters, like, well, this roster is kind of magical, you know what I mean? Like, especially taking games off Splyce and how well they're playing against Splyce. You don't know where Splyce is yet in the power rankings. Yeah. We have to wait till we see how they play at Daytona because this could be a powerhouse squad. I mean, I considered Splyce to be one of my top 3 teams last season going into Worlds.
Yeah, Splyce is definitely a solid squad. Here's the thing, though, is it's a lot of pressure that builds up week after week. And I'm curious to see what players are going to step up for that pressure and which players are kind of going to disappear here. And again, we've seen it constantly. One of those guys who's always been at the end has been Prototype in all of these relegations. In the last 2 relegations, his name has always been in there, whether it was the semifinals or the grand finals, always just coming up a little bit short. So now put that in, in a area and an environment where you have 3 other players that were in the Pro League. That's the type of confidence potentially that they may need. But on the other hand, you have players like Baby J and Randa, the 2 people that you see on your screen right now, who they know if they do perform well in a situation like this, that, hey, Dave, maybe that team does work out.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I could see wrong with this roster. Like, if they could go a long way if they keep working on their gameplay. But We're going to have to see because Splyce, like I said, I want to see more so how they play at Daytona because we're seeing them as a strong squad right now, but it's also tough as Brommer. Like you said, this really isn't even that full roster that's going to be at Daytona for Team Randa. Like, Randa's not even going to be on this Team Randa squad.
That's for sure. I mean, but he's still going to be on Team Randa. No matter where he goes, it's still going to be Team Randa. That's the beauty about being Randa. So either way here, it looks like you do have Boobadooboo with some really nasty shots this game. So we're going to continue to stay on board with him. 2 back-to-back perfects, and then cleaning up Baby J right there, who was top center, and continuing to put down some serious damage with the help from his teammates, of course. Watch out for that barrel, though, and that grenade. He's going to jump right on over that one, and now Splyce pushing in for that triple cap.
Wow, and Shooter, what a great Spartan charge there, just coming around the corner. Once again, that's more of a heads-up play from Shooter, knowing where his teammates are. He's not just going to randomly, most likely not going to randomly just Spartan charge around that corner unless he already has backup in that yard.
Commonly, nice beatdown onto Shotzi over here, trying to get the bleeding to stop over towards that yard area. But look at the amount of pressure, Dave, coming in towards that yard area. Everybody flooding in there. Potentially a reset coming in. Yes, it does happen because Randa gets out right there. And whether Randa stayed in or got out, it still was going to be reset from the side of Splyce. Just too many resources being sent over from the light rifle.
That's going to be about another 10 points now for Splyce because they were able to hold into that yard. They're going to be able to keep this trip cap for a bit longer, and we're not going to be able to see Team Randa stop the bleeding much earlier. Look at that, not even able to stop Nest yet. They start off at 50 points when they got that first reset.
Dave.
There's another
That
10.
was a big mistake by Commonly and Prototype. Both of the players looking at the same exact angle, and also Prototype checking his left and wasn't even sure where they were watching. So that's a situation where if you're getting triple capped on and you get 1 kill and it's a 4-on-3 situation, you have to say where you're watching. You need to be like, I'm checking blue. They're not over there. They must be coming from Soda. So just miscommunication coming in here right now on the side of the Randa squad, and you could start to see these guys on Splyce after winning that game number 2. There's blood in the water. They want to try to end this series here. Going up 3-1 would definitely help that.
Yeah, and they're in prime position for that too. I think the play of this game, as far as this team overall, is the way they just collapse on that yard over and over again. Yard is one of those positions that it's okay to push in when you have numbers, and that's exactly what Splyce did. They didn't just send 1 or 2 people over just to try to hold yard. They basically sent 3 people over the course of 15 seconds to continue to hold on to that. And Shotzi, man, I don't know what's going on with his controller. It seems to be shooting and meleeing randomly towards the wall and the body. I'm not sure how that happens.
He must, like, be playing with batteries and like having malfunctions in his controller or something like that. But either way, this has been all Splyce over here, which is a completely different story than the first game, which was strongholds on Empire. And of course, game number 3 went into overtime, so that was a fairly close one as well. But it doesn't seem like anyone on the side of Randa able to get some sort of momentum over here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. And you can see it's not like anyone doing poor individually. It's just Boobadooboo kind of going off here for the side of Splyce.
Yep, and that is a crushing 100-11 victory for Splyce over Team Randa there. Plaza Strongholds. Squared, you called at the beginning. You said who's going to win the 2 Plaza games, and it looks like Splyce has answered that question.
Yeah, Splyce now puts themselves in a great position here. Going to look at the damage, you have 2 players underneath 1,000, so you can just see they were not able to get out of spawn. They're forced in situations where they had to get into the stronghold and got collapsed on by multiple players from Splyce. So you have to do whatever you can no matter what, and it's tough to come back from. If you get into triple cap against any team that's in the top 10, it's very, very tough to fight out of that one. Teams are getting to the point now where they're understanding that if they move as a unit, just like you saw right there, but not only that, block spawns and also watch spawns, then you're going to be able to go on serious runs right there, and that's what you're starting to see Splyce do. They played that one pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, Splyce just it just felt like that first game maybe they didn't have their groove yet. But not to take away anything from Team Randa. I mean, I felt like Team Randa, and especially in that Fathom CTF game, they kind of, I don't want to say blew that game, but last minute and 20 seconds, you just need to be going for slays. Allow the opposing team to make mistakes. They've only got 1 capture over the last 11 minutes. What's the chance that they're going to be able to scrap 1 cap over that minute unless you make some sort of massive mistake or they make an incredible play? Force them to make the incredible play. Don't give them the mistake option.
Yeah, I've always been in that kind of space too, where it's like, do you continue to play the game? And we're talking about CTF Fathom now. If you guys missed that one, again, there was a flag cap that happened in the last 10 seconds where Team Randa was up 2-1 and ended up losing that game. But it's always it's just such a tightrope to walk. Where do you continue to play the game how you were playing it the entire time, which gave you the lead and potentially the win, or do you switch it up just a little bit and say, hey, let's play the situation here?
Yeah, it's playing the situation. There's a big difference between playing full defensive, sitting back on your side of the map, just trying to guard your flag, and still just going out across the map, having a presence there, getting slays, but opting not to pull the flag unless it's a situation where you have a clear advantage.
Right, exactly. But now we're moving into a Slayer here, and we've seen how powerful Splyce has been on the Slayers. In the objective games, besides that last game, it's been 50-50. It's been fairly even in terms of the Slays. But now in the Slayer, I think it was 50-31. So if you're on the side of Splyce right now, you got to feel very confident with this 3-1 lead. You've established that you kind of are the better team, especially with that last game. You got to continue to ride that momentum here. And let's go ahead and take a look at Commonly, who has definitely been the shining star here for this Randa squad.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in Fathom CTF that game he dropped 34 kills. This most recent one, I believe he had least damage done. So it shows that Conley can be hot and cold. And look at that damage, those shots right there. I don't expect the sniper to get away. Almost taken down by Shotzi, but Conley getting that sniper and poking out just a little bit. But it looks like he was actually shot in the back over from Engine 1.
Baby J has got the scatter shot, though, and this is what you want to do if you have it. Make your way on over towards the tower area, but he gets stuck by Renegade, and that should go on over to Commonly. Shooter does have the sniper rifle, so the weapons being split up by both teams here with the 4-4 tie. I'm curious to see who's going to be able to get control of this bunker area and the weapons. You have Commonly camping down there. There it is. He finds that kill onto Renegade. Huge kill. Shooter does have that sniper rifle now. Commonly has to find out where this guy is. If he can clear this out, then they should be able to put Splyce on their back heels.
And look at this sneaky Conley. Unfortunately, he thrust it over to kill that other guy in bunker, but Conley almost taking out the double kill, taking out the sniper player as well. But
look how much damage he did there. He was able to do enough damage that Prototype on his deathbed was able to still get a kill. And that's huge because we're looking at, control of the map. We're looking at the power weapons. We're also looking at a Slayer game where you are down 3-1 in the series. You have to do everything that you can. Keep as much as your shields as possible, but that's not something Baby J was able to do as Shotzi just gets 2 kills out of nowhere.
Jeez, and those are some incredible shots, but it's still always just a tie game. So it just goes to show, like, in order to win some of these games against these top players, some of these players got to be playing out of their minds. And I don't know. I guess I didn't fully expect that to be needed out of someone like Splyce, but at the same time, when you look at their roster, you look at some of the players on there, you just expect players like Renegade, Boo Boo Doo Boo, Shotzi just to be hitting insane shots all game long.
Yeah, so now things are slowing down. As you can see, Boo Boo Doo Boo has made his way on over towards the tower area. Everyone posturing for the camo. Commonly's going to find that one. Can he escape? No, but that should give the time over to both teams, excuse me. But that does not matter much for Splyce as they are now getting aggressive on the spawns. Also the scatter shot in the back pocket. Baby J, he's caught in no man's land. Boo Boo Doo Boo, that's an easy kill for him. And now all of these guys are just going to be getting aggressive and rotating on the spawns. This is really nice play coming out from Splyce because of the fact that camo was burned, Dave, and they have control of the weapons. That's when you want to be aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing that's interesting about Rig here with the new changes is you're still going to have more opportunities for flanks with the new radar, but not nearly as much compared to a lot of the other maps. People are still going to be aware of a lot of the angles. You're just not going to be as aware of how many people are going to be charging, because one thing that was interesting in Rig before was with the radar, you'd be like, oh, wow, there's 2 people or 3 people coming through Whitehall or coming through Snipe Hall, and you can basically inform your whole team where the majority of the opposing team is.
A lot more rotations coming in.
Yeah, a lot more rotations are going to be much more surprising to players.
And
but
effective.
Yeah, you still aren't going to see somebody, for the most part, like flank around from Engine 1, get some sort of back smack or breakthrough in a stand-up situation.
Yeah, I mean, you still have your headphones on. You still
Yep.
can hear footsteps, things like that. Obviously, there's some ways to negate that, and you're going to see some of the players eventually utilizing that if the things does slow down. But I'm not expecting this game to slow down by any means. Like, you're going to see maybe when the camo's coming up, maybe around that like 8-10 mark, things will slow down for about 10 to 15 seconds, but then it's just going to explode. And that's what I really like, and I think that that's definitely a testament to the radar change, and I really love to see those type of changes being implemented and continuing, 343 continuing to take feedback from not only the pro players, but just the community in general.
Yeah, it was very interesting having it early on, like the settings. I know a lot of the pros are very excited about these current settings, more so compared to the other ones. I mean, but yeah, it was interesting early on because it was one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, like this is good for ideally for the community as a whole. Like people were thinking that maybe newer people would get into Halo more by having more weapons like assault rifle and automatics that people enjoyed. But it seems to be that people really enjoy this top level play of these precision weapons.
Wow, crazy turn of events here. As the game did slow down, it looked like that really played into Team Randa's favor here, as they were able to secure a couple of kills and bring this game back. Now it's only a 3-kill lead here for Splyce.
Yeah, and that's surprising because they still have the weapons. So that's
Just a
a
couple
little
of
odd.
missed shots, though.
Yeah, there's some missed shots, but same time, like if you still hold on to the weapons, still have like scatter shot, still have sniper. In most cases, you're expecting, all right, we'll give up a couple deaths, but we're not going to lose our 8 or so kill lead.
Well, they just did. Now this one's tied as Baby J did get the kill onto Renegade. Something to keep in mind is Shooter on the bat ledge was not able to lay down enough damage, and that kind of turned the tides on that side of the map as well. So you're seeing some really great plays from Shooter, and then you're seeing a couple of times where he's kind of dropping the ball in up-close battles.
Overall, I've seen very few mistakes decision-wise from Shooter.
Oh, there's a
feel
nice
he's
play. That was
always,
a nice one-on-one.
Yeah, that was a great individual play right there. But skill-wise, individual play. But individually, I've seen Shooter so many times make the correct decision over and over again, but just have a few misexecutions.
Yeah, if he can put it together and have some really solid individual performances, that's when you're seeing him completely go off. And that's why it's great to have that kind of supporting cast around you. Though I feel like Shooter's done a really good job building some really individually skilled players up, and where he may kind of lack, that's where these other guys are going to be able to carry that weight. That doesn't mean that he is a bad shot by any means. It's just that when you're kind of looking at the mechanics between, say, like Boo Boo Doo Boo or Shooter or Shotzi compared to Shooter, I feel like the two aren't even really close. But either way,
I remember Needler actually wasn't that good of a weapon. Now
yeah,
it's actually
I
pretty
was just gonna
godlike.
ignore that while that was happening. Pretend we didn't see that. But one of the things that is crazy now, to go back to Team Randa and what they're doing well, is they're winning their one-on-one battles now, and they're confident in the way that they're moving around. Do you see how aggressive now they're playing, Dave? Do you see how they have started to communicate probably a little bit better? Like, we can't hear the communication, but to me, it seems like the way that these guys are looking around, they're just way more aware than they were in the previous game.
And if we were to go to a listen with them, we know it's not calm. There is no calm call-outs right now. And that's something that different players thrive in different environments and ecosystems. Someone like Commonly, he loves the game when it's fast-paced. I think he's probably one of those players that struggles quite a bit more when it gets down to those standoff periods, because Commonly does such a good job that when things are chaotic, he can run up right to a new player, like get that first shot or two, win that fight. Like, he knows how to make sense of those chaotic situations much better than other top pros.
Let's see if Splyce can bring it back here. They're trying to close this series out 3-1, down 8 kills though. Obviously, Dave, you'd want to be in the situation of Splyce even if you were down in this game, but gotta say again, these guys have kind of started to get their footing back. Kind of reminds me of what we saw in game number 1 here. They're gonna have to close them out though. This one is not over quite yet. A couple slays going on over to Splyce. It looks like they are gonna have map positioning as well with the scatter shot in Boo Boo Doo Boo's back pocket. So if Boo Boo Doo Boo can get some serious work in, that is gonna be their opportunity to come back. So let's see if he's going to be able to do anything, but right when we switch to his point of view, he drops.
Yeah, this is a really tough situation, especially with how it's been going so far, because when we've been watching Splyce, yeah, they had that good run around the middle range of the game, but outside of that, even times they've had weapons, or the times they haven't had weapons, they've just slowly but surely been getting further and further behind. Great stick from Renegade, trying to juke out this player, and ends up juking himself out a little bit. Just realizing that player's going to try to make some sort of hot move, and just
that's where you just stand still and you just kind of like look at your watch that you're wearing, or whether you're not wearing a watch, you just look at your skin and just kind of wait for that player to pop back out. And there it is, Team Randa 50-39, making this one a series. Man, just imagine if they were to win the previous game, Dave. They'd be in such a prime spot.
Yeah, I would say, the previous game, I feel like the Plaza Strongholds was a bit out of their reach, but that Fathom CTF, I mean, this could easily be a series in favor of Team Randa rather than Team Splyce.
Taking a look at the stats, 9-20 coming out from Renegade.
Uh-oh.
Pretty big neg bomb there. Neg 11 was 39 to 50, so that was the big difference maker in terms of the KDA. Shooter 7-9. Meanwhile, Commonly continuing to impress, 14-7. Overall team effort though, great coming out from Team Randa. You could see, Baby J went big in certain times. Prototype, he was playing it smart at certain times as well. Even Randa clutched it too. But a lot of that had to do with, in my opinion, Commonly being smart around the camouflage. We saw him, I think, 3 times pick up that camouflage or be really close to picking it up. I think twice he burned it. But that's the type of things that you have to do. You have to sacrifice your life for the power-ups and the power weapons. And I can't say enough about how this guy's playing today. He's actually, in my opinion, has to be one of the top 3 players in these 8 guys right now for sure.
Oh, easily. I mean, I think if we had to choose one player out of this group of 8 right now, like based on some of the incredible plays we've seen so far, it just seems like every single time we're on Commonly's screen, he will just do as much damage as possible, like get out of situations he should not live. That one escape we saw on Fathom CTF still sticks out in my mind where we saw shots, he just trying to hunt him down near that silo/pit and Commonly just juking him out. So that just adds up over time. It adds up over the series when you have a player who is buying those extra seconds, doing that extra shot or 2 of damage. When you add that up, when you look at just that one split situation, it's like, oh, wow, that's, he made that person chase him for an extra 2 seconds and he got 1 extra shot of damage. What does that really do? When you add it up over the entire series, that's like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, he literally did 1,000 extra damage or 500 extra damage,
Yeah.
and he took attention away from the opposing team for a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, look at the damage right there. We have the screen down below us. That's why I'm constantly looking down below, guys. But it seems like Shooter only had 1,100 damage. In the previous game, we saw 2 players that were below 1,000 as well. So that's 3 games in a row where you typically see someone around like that 1,500, 2,000 damage at the least. I mean, that's significant differential in damage. Pretty much everyone on your team having twice the amount as you did. So also another thing that stood out was the power weapon kills. You had 4 power weapon kills coming in from Commonly, 4 coming in from Prototype as well.
0
That's a
from
lot.
Renegade.
That's a lot. I mean, you're looking at 8 power weapon kills. And Commonly, you don't think of him as someone that is going to be that main slayer on the team. So that's a great sign for these guys for Team Randa. Again, I was saying how, as we take a look at the series layout, that they should be happy no matter what how they played this one, because even though you see CTF Fathom was a 3-1, that was a game that they should have won. They could be up 3-2 in this series right now, looking to close this one out in CTF Truth. And if it was a best of 5, say even, and they would have won that, they could have closed that out right there in game number 5. But either way, they need to brush it off here, get focused into CTF Truth. And the way that they've played the objective games, especially CTF Fathom, Dave, I feel like they do have a good chance here.
Yeah, they definitely do, and that's one thing you've highlighted a couple times in the series where it's like Team Randa should be proud no matter how they do in the series. Like I don't think Team Randa is even going into that mentality. I think they're going in saying we're going to take down Splyce. We're not even going to have our full rosters that they're going to Daytona with, and they're going to try to take down Splyce.
They want to win, no doubt about it. I mean, that's why they're here and playing. I don't think that they would waste their time otherwise. These guys are obviously extremely competitive. It's just crazy to see a team that's been so well practiced go up against a team that probably hasn't played much together in terms of scrims, and they're right there with them. I mean, I'm not seeing anything substantial in terms of strategy that could be throwing these guys off, besides maybe Shooter with that nice play in Plaza, but it wasn't like a make or break play or anything like that. So these guys obviously know how to play Halo 5 individually and as a team, and that's why they're here right now and playing at such a high level. So it's really fun to watch, and it's a lot more competitive than I thought. But ever since we started doing these Open Cups, Dave, I've been just surprised by how everyone's playing. All these games and all these series have been way more close than I originally thought.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot closer. We've also just seen the level of Halo just kind of rise up a bit. Even though we haven't seen any of these relegation teams yet win that relegation match when they do get to the finals, we've just given, these players have ways to play every single weekend, get practice, get on different teams, have reasons to get on more. One thing we were talking about before is some of these cups, they can be daunting. Jumping on all online, having to play, a couple nights or afternoons when you normally might not play. But at the same time, when I look at a roster like Optic, I don't ever hear them being like, "Oh man, we got to, it's Saturday night. Do we got to jump on and play tonight?" Like they are on.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you make a couple $100,000 from playing. It gives you a little bit more motivation to play.
That is true. Yeah. I guess there's a bit more of the stability there, and they do have that cushion where it's like, all right, what we're doing is working, so we're going to continue doing that. But at the same time, I mean, if you want to get to that Optic level, you just got to keep grinding. I mean, it's tough, but that's really the only way. Like I feel like that was one reason why I retired was I was like, I'm either going to do this full, I'm not gonna half-ass it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this gaming thing nonstop, or
Or
I'm
not at
just
all.
gonna not do it at all. And so, I, eventually gave it up when it wasn't in my heart.
I mean, that's why you got to give props to the people that have continued to do it for so long, like, Nated, Victory X, Ogre 2, still playing at a pretty high level. And once you do that, you realize that, you have to take breaks at certain points. I mean, a lot of the guys that are still kind of coming up and winning, for example, you take a look at Optic, a lot of these guys didn't start kind of coming up in towards like 2010, 2011, some even later than that. You look at someone like Victory X, I mean, the guy has been playing competitive Halo since 2005.
Yep.
That's just absolutely insane to think the amount of hours that his buttocks have been in a chair with Halo on the screen in front. I mean, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master craft. I think we were way past that even in Halo 1. So, it's crazy. So much time and effort goes in towards this craft, I guess you can say, and that's why I still just have a lot of respect for the people that continue to do it. Especially, in my opinion, I even have more respect for the amateur guys that are doing it because they don't have that light at the end of the tunnel that the other guys have, with the organization sponsoring them, with the money coming in that way, with the prize money, with the viewership, everything that comes in, even just being able to say that you're a pro. A lot of that has to do with the amount of pride and effort that you put in. So just hats off to all of the guys that played, and hats off to everybody that watching. We know how much you guys love Halo. We are getting into game number 6 now. It is CTF on Truth. Dave, what do you have to say?
Even though we haven't seen this Team Randa, I'm sure they haven't practiced as much together compared to Splyce, but at the same time, it's CTF Truth. This is a map and game type that everyone is familiar with. You've been playing these arena-style CTF maps since you've been playing Halo. Every single Halo you've ever played, whether it's Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, like, there's always a map and game type just like this. So these players are going to be very familiar with it, and they aren't going to be as hindered. Whereas we've noticed on game types, something like Plaza Strongholds, it takes a lot more organization and being on the exact same page with the team in order to break setups or know how to handle a situation where it's a double cap or a triple cap about where you're going. And we saw Team Randa falter in those situations.
Team Randa, I guess that's why they called it. Look at this guy. He's carrying to start with the double kill. Looking for some more blood over towards the Splyce base, but Boobadoo going to shut that one down. It looks like Prototype is going to get the trade, though. However, that push is going to be stopped, and now Baby J on the defense.
I don't know if I like that play as much. I mean, I guess he's going to go down there and get that finish on Shotzi, but I don't know. Like, if you're standing up there over towards Attic, you either need to be, like, if you're playing defense in your base, hide the corner, play defense in your base. However, if you're going to help your teammates across the map, like, be prepared to, like, jump straight out of Attic. Be prepared to get new high ground, whether that's top carbine, whether it's pushing towards pink. It felt like
it was definitely a risky play. It was a risky play.
It just felt like he was just prepared to sit at level to his base. And it seems like that's what Pete Hislop's ready to do, too. I mean, I'm all in favor of getting angles across the map and get shots, but if you don't have people pushing out in other directions or somebody ready to go out towards pink or card, it's all for nothing. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the frustrating things when you're playing and people are sitting back and playing defense too much. It's like, well, is anyone going to go? All right, well, I'll go, and then you get melted and no one kind of watched your back. So that's one of the things that these guys have to be focused on, is getting out of their base, but also making sure that they are being aware of anyone pushing in, Dave, because the last thing that you want to have is someone like this, Renegade, for example, being inside your bubble. So really great job by Randa making sure that he lands that grenade, which is actually not an easy grenade to hit. I can't tell you, I don't think I've ever actually killed anyone in the bubble.
I've thrown a million grenades at bubble, and yes, it's been very
I'm like Shaq with free throws when it comes to it's even worse. It's even worse.
Oh man, even like that was even all the way back in Halo 2, like until we found the glitch where you could like grenade through the top part of the bubble and throw a grenade at top. It's like, yeah, you'd always throw a grenade at the bubble and you would never get a hit. It's just like that thing you just saw dink right inside the bubble. It's like, well, I'm probably not gonna get hit by that.
So here it is, Shooter with the first flagpole, first Splyce, trying to get something going. It looks like it's not going to pay off, though. He tried to pull that one underneath the base, and it's not going to work out. Boobadoo with the P3 control, this is where you want to be, especially with Camouflage head popping up in the next couple of seconds. Boobadoo, can he get the kill? He does on Anomaly. This is huge. Looks like they're going to be able to secure this flag cap. Multiple players popping up in the bubble. Team Randa not in position, and they still have map control on the side of Splyce. This could be scary. Potential double cap coming in here, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, outside of the very beginning of the game, I felt like this is the first time we've actually seen Team Randa somewhere outside of level 2 their base or car side their base or pink side their base. It felt like this entire time they've been confined to that one quadrant of the map. And unless the other teams run the flag across the map, I guess that's the only thing that's going to incentivize them to actually go over and get some control. We're finally seeing something like Commonly. Get over towards pink 2, man. Get that angle on pink 2. He eventually gets some help from P. Tizype, who finishes up that kill, but we now are seeing some map presence from Team Randa. The past 3 minutes, they've just been sitting in their base, and that's partially due to how well Splyce is playing, all the kills they're getting, how much pressure they're putting on, but also at fault for Team Random for just not pushing out, just choosing a spot, saying, all right, let's push out a car. We just got to kill a car bubble. Let's get at least one person car 3. That person doesn't have to flank all the way to the enemy base or anything. You could still hold car 3 and be a help on defense. But I just saw on the kill feed there for a second, I saw one breadstick. So.
Yeah. I had a lot of breadsticks yesterday, actually. I had a whole plethora of breadsticks and an entire pizza. But either way, it looks like Shooter and friends want to do the defensive strategy that they did in CTF Fathom, Dave. What do you think about this? This is something that, again, you were a guy that would go bottom middle, I feel like. You would spawn and you would just immediately try to go towards car 1 or bottom middle. Now we're starting to see that kind of shift towards just playing defense, getting the numbers, and then charging out there. And sometimes it doesn't work, just like that. Shooter's sitting there trying to, I guess you can say, defend his flag, but you can defend your flag just by, you know, being offensive, really. I mean, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, too.
Yeah. Well, when I would play a map like this, I would kind of go into like this rock, paper, scissors sort of mentality. Like if the opposing team, they had positioned something like pink 2 or car 2, and my team is getting ready to push over towards one of the sides, like as an opener, in certain cases, I could push across bomb center because that draws their attention in different spots. They're not able to fight the fight that they want to. If you're over at pink 2 or car, you want somebody just to push out towards pink street. You want them just to openly push out from car 2 and fight that heads-on fight on unequal footing. You clearly have the advantage when you're at one of those power positions. And so that forces the opposing team to actually reevaluate their positioning. They have to decide, all right, how many people are we going to allocate to deal with this person down there back at our base? Because there's now a person level 1 our base. Do we send a person who's pink 2? Do we send someone at car our side? And it forces them to do some really tough to quantify situations.
Here's an interesting situation here, and it kind of reminds me of the first game in CTF, or the first CTF game, excuse me, that we saw on Fathom, where Splyce was doing the same exact thing. They were constantly top center. They were adding so much pressure, but yet they weren't able to secure a big enough lead to be able to kind of run away with it and demoralize the side of Team Randa. And then all of a sudden, Randa came in with a sneaky cap. And then all of a sudden they came in with one more sneaky cap, and then they were up 2-1. So that's what kind of scares me right now if I'm Splyce, that they are looking really, really solid. Commonly has turned his breadstick into 6 now, so he's done a really good job stringing together some kills, and I'm sure he has tons of assists as well. But you got to take advantage of that. The guy that has been just completely dominating you in this series for Rando, that's been Commonly. He's having a bad game. You have to be up more than 1-0.
But look at this. Even when we saw Boobadoo pushing over towards the Team Randa base, you notice how there's a player just over in the bubble, only worried about level 2 their base. You never saw that player pushing over towards top car or taking up more real estate on the map. We finally saw P. Tizype. Look at that. He pushed over from car 3, top center, got towards pink 2, and got the flank that's probably going to get Team Randa out of the situation. As I say that, looks like we have 2 members still in there, but a great grenade takes down Boo Boo Doo, and once again, guess what Team Randa is going to do? They're just going to go on the defensive. I would love to see P. Tizype make that same play again. Just go towards car 3. Get some positioning on the map.
Yeah, they need to go top center a little bit more, start utilizing that, especially because you're seeing it now, but this is a much more common spot, especially from Splyce. Renegade loves that spot over there, just sitting there. Ogre 2 as well. You see him utilize that pretty often, and it's great because you can kind of, reminds me of that old P1 wall glitch that you used to do back in Halo 2 days on midship. But again, finally some ping control coming in here, but it gets shut down immediately by Boobadooboo and Splyce. These guys, again, Dave, you were saying it, go car side, flank around top center, try to find some different routes. It's just not working for them right now.
Yeah, just need to force the opposing team to like have some other shots across the map. See, Boobadooboo will happily fight this fight all day long over towards pink side. However, as soon as another player gets over towards car 3 or gets towards his bubble, he is much less comfortable. He now realizes that someone can pick some shots across from top center. He realizes that as soon as he gets weak, someone can push across that street, and he doesn't have help in angles that he would like.
Let's see if Shotzi's going to be able to get anything going here. He is definitely one of the players to watch on this map. And again, where do these guys on Splyce go? They're constantly flooding over towards this pink area. And if you're sending more resources over there, and if you're covering and doing the right things like going car side and flanking, you're going to be up in the game. And that's why you see them with this 1-0 lead here. However, again, I just want to point out that even though they have had control, Randa has done a really nice job. Randa and friends have done a nice job at least keeping this game within striking distance, which was one of our major key points for them to winning this series, Dave.
That is very true. I think that was probably one of my downfalls as a player back in the day was I sometimes didn't do a good enough job on defense. Instead of, I'd always try to force the aggressive move and try to break out of my base rather than being like, all right, they have to be the ones that push in. Let them try to execute the perfect push where they have people come in from 2 or 3 different angles and get multiple shots in. Whereas I would be like, oh, well, we need to push out. We need to break out of the base. So, yeah, their props do go to Team Randa right there for playing incredible defense because I'm sure they're getting heavily outslayed, especially during those first 5 or 6 minutes. And it's only down 1-0, so they can just change that and tie that up with 1 cap.
Oh, that was the camo guy, and it looks like Baby J is going to get the cleanup. So commonly trading his life for the camo guy. That's pretty solid here. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left here. Only need 1 cap here if you are Randa to try to extend this game and keep extending this series. But Shotzi setting up a little bit of defense. He also has multiple grenades, multiple players from Splyce coming in from the side. Should be able to clear this guy out pretty quickly, and it looks like Renegade's going to be the one to do that onto Baby J over here. And this is what you see Splyce do. They wait for the guys on Randa to push in. They pick them off kind of one by one, and then they immediately just push out and charge together.
And that's a wise play. I felt like when we were watching that sometimes from Team Randa's perspective, they would sometimes get that kill from the guy at their base, and they would kind of sit around at their base a little bit too longer. It's like they sit around 3 or 4 seconds waiting for something to happen before they tried to make some sort of move across the map, whereas there was no hesitation from Shotzi. He just flew straight out, started going towards pink side after getting that kill and knowing that Commonly was no longer under his base.
One of the slower CTF truth games I guess I've ever casted or been a part of. Usually you're seeing a lot more flags being pulled, a lot more aggression coming out, a lot more clashes and team battles, but this has just been a really methodically played game and kind of slow. So interesting to see how the rest of this one's going to go, if it's going to possibly blow up with tons of objective happening at the end of the game, as both flags are being pulled here.
Yeah, Baby J trying to toss that one up, and great toss up to his teammate. He's going to dive on this return, see if he can get it, unlike Fathom CTF, and Baby J was taken down. This is going to be recovery for Team Splyce and possibly their second capture. Shooter getting a nice back smack, trying to cut off any angles from car side, just aware that most likely opposing team's probably going to spawn their bubble since they don't have that spot blocked.
That's 2 great 1v1s. Prototype is 1 against Booby Dooby. This flag is still alive. Looks like Splyce tossing this one up and should be able to secure it. Renegade going for this camouflage as well. With a minute left and that flag sitting at their base, that should pretty much be game here. Commonly flying in there as his gamer tag suggests. That's going to be 3 dead. Last guy alive, Prototype trying to kill the camo guy, but it doesn't really matter here. It looks like Splyce is going to be able to maintain control and probably close this game up, unless Renegade misplays this camo pretty
What happened
poorly.
to the cap? I could have swore, didn't they get 3 kills at the end there? Did
They
Conley
did.
fly in and get that recovery?
He must have. There it is.
Oh,
there's the flag
final
capture.
It just
Looks
felt like they held on to it for a little too long or
Yeah.
something. I don't know what happened there.
I think they were toying with them, honestly, but looks like Renegade should be able to buy more than enough time for mathematically Team Randa to be eliminated or sent down towards that lower bracket, I believe it is instead. It's going to be a 4-2 series win for Team Splyce, and they are going to lock this game out 2-0. Again, guys, they are mathematically eliminated. It is impossible to get 2 flags across the map that quickly. There is no continuation. The flag has to actually go in at 0-0-0 on the clock, and there it is. Splyce winning 4-2 pretty handily in that CTF Truth game. They had control. I'd say 95% of that game. The only time that they didn't have control was to the opening kickoff, I guess you could say, the opening spawns, where Baby J picked up that double kill. They pushed in. They weren't able to get the flag even pulled out towards the halfway point. Everyone just died right there on the spot, and there it was. It was pretty much over. Shotzi with the overkill.
Yeah, I was just going to say, saw an overkill medal there in the bottom right, so props out to Shotzi, and lots of damage there, but I guess that's not surprising there on True CTF when you're just able to shoot across the map pretty much the entire time. So every player putting 3,000 plus damage.
All right, so there it is. That's going to be 4-2 again. If you're Team Randa, you cannot hold your head down low here as we take a look at the series layout. This